So first up, I want to say I had a pretty bad case of the flu for the past 2 weeks that really impacted me commentating, but I am over it, so I can once again return to making videos. So today I thought I'll talk about Dragon Valley, seeing as quite a bit has changed in the map in terms of vehicle rebalancing and heavy optimizations. And I also want to go over some more general changes in CTE. Please note though, I wasn't able to get a lot of footage of Dragon Valley with all the new updates, so I had to mix in some footage before the recent patches. Firstly though, let's talk about the Incendiary Grenade. Surprisingly, it had a pretty major bug fix. We all know about the damage over time effect, has almost no boundaries with basic physics, and will still damage you even if you're behind a wall or some other type of obstruction. This unintended effect has become a feature for this grenade, and I guarantee for a lot of players it's a main reason why they use it. I'm assuming it's been a problem due to some kind of limitation in the game engine, and the fact it's been in the game for such a long time suggests it was something that couldn't be fixed. Surprisingly, in the recent CTE patch, this problem has actually been solved, and no longer will the burn effect go through whatever it feels like. To give you an example here, in a typical scenario where you'll see players abusing this issue is in Operation Metro, where at one of the usual choke points, normally you'll see a bunch of players here trying to push up while the enemy team will be right around the corner. And with only a wall separating the two teams, some players tend to throw down an incendiary grenade behind the wall so it damages the players trying to push up. As you can see, if you remain standing at this point, you can potentially lose 98% of your HP. And moving on to CTE, as you can see, the damage no longer travels through the wall, which is great, as this issue can be extremely annoying, especially in clustered maps. And it really does feel like you've been cheated when 1 minute you're concentrating on pushing up, when out of nowhere you get burned through the wall. I've seen some players suggesting, seeing as it no longer burns through the walls, the grenade should be buffed in one way or another. Though in my opinion the justification for buffing an item to counter a bug fix really doesn't seem right to me. But moving on to the IGLA lock-on launcher, I saw this being mentioned in the latest CTE patch. The range of the IGLA has been increased to 580 meters from 450. The reason why this happened was, if you guys remember a while ago, before the full patch on CTE, Dxtory wanted the IGLA to have unlimited vertical lock-on height. But since that didn't happen, I'm guessing this is why the range has been increased, but not too sure why this change has happened now and not with the full patch. But you may want to actually consider using it over the Stinger, which I'm sure you've realised by now since the full patch. These lock-on weapons do huge amounts of damage if they connect to their target. Anyway though, let's talk about Dragon Valley. Like I said before, there's been quite a lot of changes, mainly due to optimizations for the map, so it meets minimum PC requirements or possibly even limitations on next-gen consoles. In my last video I spoke about how the fog looked kind of a bit too grey and was more like smoke and didn't really resemble that mist effect like we had in BF4. Adding the mist around the map is pretty damn important, as it provides some level of cover from air vehicles and infantry from higher grounds, and adds character to the map. As you can see, this is how the fog used to look like before the patch. However, in the recent patches, the entire smoke cloud effect has been removed altogether from the main zones, as you can see panning across the map here. Like I said, I'm guessing its removal was due to optimizations, or either due to the MAA tank being re-added into the map so you can have better visibility, and so pilots can see the MAA tank better as well. Going by the patch notes, there's been quite a few things removed and adjusted in the map to increase performance. You may have already noticed, as I'm overlooking the map, a lot of trees and textures are popping in and out, which is really not a good thing to see, but more than likely you won't notice it in game. One thing I really have noticed though is more trees and general foliage have been placed around various locations of the map, which actually provides you with a lot of cover. And I want to point out as well, as I'm coming up to the E flag, look at the background. We have that white mist effect, which looks like how it did in BF4. I really do wish they can use that same mist effect for the rest of the map. Another change I'm happy to see, the bridge repair times have been lowered, and it seems like you can destroy them easier. As like I showed in my last Dragon Valley video, the repair times were massively increased and just didn't work well within a fully populated server, as with so many players you'll tend to see the bridges destroyed, and it just wasn't a viable option to expose yourself for such a long time to repair them. Also, I'm glad to see the loading music has been changed to what it was in Battlefield 2 Dragon Valley. It is a classic map remake, so why not also use the same music? I think it's a nice change from the more electronic based loading music we typically have in the game. As for feedback, I don't know if you guys will agree or not, but I still think there needs to be pathways linking various parts of the map together. So for example, here in BF2 there's a few pathways that connect to the middle temple island where it's shallow enough for infantry and vehicles to travel over, which helps move around the map to other objectives. However, in the Battlefield 4 version we have no such pathway because the water is just too deep. Seeing as the attack boat has actually been removed and the need for deep water around the map is not really necessary anymore, I'm hoping what Dxtory can do is add in some shallow water laneways where vehicles and infantry can still pass through, but at the same time jet skis can still travel over so players driving those vehicles can still get around the map. But overall, I feel like the map plays more linear than the Battlefield 2 version, seeing as there's simply not as many pathways. Another example where I think a connected pathway will work really well, from the D flag to the side left laneway, to make this capture point a little more accessible will work well. Comparing to the BF2 version, we had a laneway here and other parts of the map, so I really do think Dxtory should experiment a little with this idea and see what us players think about it. Another idea I've seen suggested on the CTE subreddit, and this is something I do hugely agree with. I would love to see if they promote Dragon Valley with the classic game mode in mind. It does need awareness for starters, and it will give players more of that Battlefield 2 feeling in Dragon Valley with this game mode. They could easily tie this within a community mission, so something along the lines of play 4 hours of Dragon Valley in classic game mode within this time frame to get a dog tag, gold battle pack, or whatever else. And finally, I want to talk about the squad, promote and demote system that was introduced in the fall patch. The timeout has been changed from 30 to 60 seconds. I didn't really have an issue with this, but I have read players wanting the timeout extended, so glad to see they changed it for them. But overall though, Dragon Valley is still a wonderful, enjoyable map in Conquest and Rush, but with the recent optimizations, I feel like it's lost a bit of its character with the removal of the mists, and we're more than likely never going to see the iconic pipelines make a return. But anyway, that's it for today's video. Leave your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.